Hello and welcome to episode 4 now of French Trumpet. And it's a channel where myself from AJ in France, Colin from French Countryside Live, just talk about whatever we feel like talking about. Today we're going to do a video. It's going to start out on having a YouTube channel and mainly a YouTube channel in France. And I am really happy to say we've got Grahame here from Our French House Renovation, who is joining us, which is the equivalent of Mr. Beast for those who have a YouTube channel in France.
It's never been described like that before.
I think it's probably Mr. Beast's evil twin that I don't talk about.
Yeah. Okay. Well. Anyway, so let's get into it. All three of us have got a YouTube channel in France. Some started earlier than others, and some, well, me and Colin live here permanently, but you don't, do you, Grahame?
No.
How often do you get over?
Sorry?
How often do you get over to France?
It varies, but between 4 and 5 times a year for about a month at a time, because I have to go by the 90-day rule as well.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
Yeah. So every 180 days I'm allowed to be here 90, so I have to time it, just to work in those parameters, really. Yeah.
I don't really understand how that works. So is it like a rolling 90 days?
Yeah.
Or
It
a roll?
is.
Yeah, I don't
It is
understand how
difficult to understand. Do you understand it, Andy?
Yeah, so kind of, but I think you probably describe it better than I will because you have to do it yourself.
Yeah. The secret of it is when most people you talk to who don't understand it and who are coming to France, they always assume the way to work it out is on the day they arrive, that's day 1. And that's the wrong way to think of it. Think of the first day you arrive as day 180. Okay, and then what you have to do, you have to look back the last previous 180 days and see how many days you've been there. And you are allowed to have been here 90 days. But let's say you've not been here for 90 days in that 180. That is day 1. Tomorrow is day 180. So you look back and you've been here 1 day out of your allowance of 190 days. And as time goes on, you always look back. So in the previous 6 months, you're only allowed to be here 90 days out of that 180, and that just rolls on through the year. But as you get to day 180 that you have actually gone by, it becomes day 181. So you look back and then you can knock days off at the beginning.
Do you know what? That is the best way I've ever heard it described and the easiest to think about it. Because people just look at it as day 1. Yeah, that's something I never thought of, really.
Yeah. It's day 180. A lot of people think that, let's say you start in January, so at the end of June, that's your 180 days. Well, 1st of July doesn't start at day 1 again.
No.
That's 181. So you just have to keep looking back all the time. As you move along, you're adding them on the front, but you're knocking them off the back as well. It's like at the moment, when I came over 3 weeks ago, I was on something like 35 days. And this time, 180 days ago, I was also here. So whilst I'm here this time, not only am I adding days on, but I'm knocking those days off as well. So really, my figures are not changing this time.
Yeah, I understand. And so it doesn't get to the 180 days and then it resets. So people think that that's what happens, I guess. But you've got to look back at what you've done. Yeah, I understand.
You look back forward, yeah. And it counts for all the Schengen countries as well. So you can't say, well, I'll have 90 days out of my 180 in France and I'll go to Spain. It's all of those countries that you can't change around or what have you, which some people think you can.
Yeah, that's...
But once it clicks in your head how it's working, I have a big chart at home and I have all the days crossed off. And then as I go through the 180 days, I mark them off, rub them out at the end and add the new ones on. And once it clicks, you get it. And it took me a while to get it, but I did eventually. Yeah. Have
you ever had any problems with coming over and people checking your passports and stamps and that?
No, never, because I know exactly how many days I've had. And I was told, and I'm pretty sure it's true, that when they now stamp your passport, they scan it and it comes up and tells them how long.
I'd imagine it's,
But somebody told me that wasn't true, but I know somebody who came and they were on day 89 and they were told you've only got 1 day less. Well, how would they know that? They can't count up all your stamps. So
That's
they
what I
said,
thought.
no, we'll be gone by the time the 90-day rule.
Andy, you need to make an app.
Yeah. Do I have to give you royalties though? That's the thing.
10%, I'm afraid, sorry.
What about my 10%?
You're going to have 5% of my team.
Hang on, I've just explained it. I've done all the hard work. You didn't even understand it.
That's business.
So you can have 10% of what I make, and he can have 5% of your 10%.
That's correct, yeah.
I feel like I'm being done here.
Thanks for coming. You can go now.
Brilliant. But that's working out all right for you at the moment.
No problem. I make it work for me. I mean, a lot of people moan about it because of Brexit and, oh, I'm only allowed 90 days. But I just make it work for me because I don't want to be away from home all that time anyway. You know, I don't want to come for 3 months at a time. So I just make it work for me. I work out, you know, what I need to do, how long I need to be here for, and then I come for that period of time.
So for people who don't know or don't know your channel, I can't believe there's anybody. I can't believe there's anybody that doesn't know. But for those who don't, just give a quick run through of you and France.
Me and France.
Your relationship with France.
Right, okay. 20 years ago, when we were part of the EU, I bought a house over here, about 1.5 miles from the village that I now live in. And no problems then, you could just walk into the country, buy a house and what have you. I stayed there for about 18 months, renovated the house. And then because of circumstances beyond my control, I had to go back to England and sell the house.
You ran it as
a B&B, yeah.
Chambredault,
yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I had to sell the house and go back, which is always a big regret. But it was something I had no control over. So a few years ago when I retired, I came into some money through selling a property and a boat I had, and I also got some of the PPI back that was going around at the time. And I just said, I'm going to buy a house again in France. And obviously you always look at the area you know. Well, there was nothing in the village I used to live in, but down the next village, Vouet, I was on the internet and I saw this house. As soon as I saw it, I said, that's what I want. And I looked at it, but I kept going back to that one. And I rang the estate agent up who I bought my first house from. And his first words to me was, do not buy this house. Obviously in French, well, with a French accent, do not buy this house. So being the wise person I am, I bought the house.
Yeah, of course.
And that was in 2000, just before I actually finished purchasing the house. I think it was a day before Brexit came in. And that's 4 years ago, 2020. Whenever it was, and then we had COVID and everything else. And it's a 204-year-old house, and it has like a gîte at the back, a little holiday home, which we've renovated, and we're now renovating the main part of the house. And I found a bit of the history out of the people who built it in 1820 and what have you, and we're trying to renovate it in the style it may have been in at that time. We're not trying to modernise this house, you know. So our friends come over, their partner Suze comes over, and we're working on the house. We've completed the gîte, we've rented that out for holidays. Contact me if you're interested. And
Shameless.
Just a minute, it's my turn. And yeah, we rent that out for holidays, and the rest of the house we're working our way through.
Yeah, so. Great. I mean, right. The thing that gets me is you're only over here for 90 days at a time, but you're putting videos out constantly. It's something I would never be able to do. Right. How does that happen? Do you just film it all while you're here, and then do you edit it back when you get home? Is that how you do it?
Yeah, both. I've been out here now for almost 3 weeks. I've got another, let's say, 2 weeks to go. And I basically film everything we do. And some is obviously wasted. It's just not worth putting out. And then I try to put out every Friday or Saturday a 20-minute-ish video, which the videos I shoot are probably 5 hours long. And I have to get it down to that 20 minutes. And then the next week I put out the next one, you know, and it takes me a week, 5 days probably, to get a video sorted in time. Because obviously I'm doing other things. I'm working all day in the house, you know. I mean, I was working this morning at 7 o'clock before I came to Collins. and that's a 3-hour drive to get here. And then when I get back to England, I've got a stock of videos. At the moment, I've been here 3 weeks and I've got 500 clips of videos, and I've still got another 2 weeks to go.
What do you store that on?
I use external memory drives, and put them on there, and then I have to. The hardest part is titling them so you understand what they are, and then doing them in sequence. Because I have done it in the past where I've done a video, and the next week's video, that brick wall wasn't there. You know, so you have to.
But you can't find
continuity. I think is
yeah. So it's time consuming. I mean, anybody who thinks for Colin, making a video is you just sit there and, you know, an hour later you've got a video. It's not like that at all. I would say that if I wasn't doing a YouTube channel, I probably would have finished this house at least a year ago.
Yeah.
You know, you do a job. I've been building breakfast bar, building the kitchen. A job that would normally take an hour is taking 2 or 3 because you're moving the camera, you're making sure it's okay, you're downloading it, you're saving it.
Yeah.
It takes so much time.
It's interesting, you know, there's 3 different ways of doing it. So you just explain the way you do it, how you do, you know, 500 hours of filming and take it back and then release it. Andy, on the other end, he'll have a video stretched over 2 years. I think your last one stretched over 2 years, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'll do one. I'll film every day for a week. But at the end of each day, I'll put it onto my computer. I'll edit it. So by the end of the week, I've already got 5/6 of it edited, and it's ready to go.
Yeah. See, I do it a different way, but I do it that way sometimes. It depends how I feel. But yeah, that's a good way to do it.
I think. But then, if you've got like 500 clips, that's. I mean, my average amount of clips is about 22, 25 maybe. That's a video.
Well, each clip is about 18 minutes long.
Right.
To give you some idea. And at the moment I'm on 512. I've got another 2 weeks to come where we're fitting out from start to finish an ensuite bathroom. And I mean, well, last time I was here, just before Christmas, I went home with something like 350 clips, and that lasted me 3 months.
Yeah.
So it should get me into the new year. You know, I'll still be wearing my shorts and my suntan oil at Christmas, you know, of the videos.
Well, it is. What is it about the 26th most sunny place in France?
Yes, it is. Vendée and the Chiron's supposed to be the second hottest place in France.
Yeah, there you go. So.
Not that you think.
No,
not today. Not today.
It's not stopped raining all day.
Yeah. We had 70 mile an hour winds 2 days ago, you know, and just horizontal rain. And...
Yeah. Well, Robbie in his greenhouse.
Dear. I have to give him a shout out. That's Robbie from Escape to France Charente.
Yeah.
Who we're hoping to get on here as well, actually, in the near future. Yeah. Before he blows up to give me another name of another famous YouTuber.
Yeah.
Escape to France, isn't it, Dan?
Charente.
So similar, isn't it?
Yeah, very similar. Both living in a chateau.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. So that's how you do your YouTube videos. What do you film it on? How many cameras have you got?
I've got 2 cameras. I use GoPros, but I really only use one of them. I have a GoPro 9 and a GoPro 10, and the 9 is far better. I have less problems with it. When I first started, I used my iPhone, which is an iPhone 7, I think. It runs on gas. It's that old. And I'm so embarrassed by the first videos.
I think we all are, aren't we?
Yeah. We all have to learn.
I think I filmed my first film with a potato.
That was yesterday's. Yeah, I can remember when we first started, we were doing the floor in what is now the sheeting. We had to completely demolish the place, really, and build it.
Yeah.
In my mind, I never thought having a phone camera on a tripod on a floor we were ripping up would show any vibration. And and the sound's appalling. I even used to forget to say to people, please like and subscribe. But I didn't do it to become a big channel. I just thought it'd be a nice record of the work I'm doing. And if I got 200 subscribers, I'd be more than pleased with that, you know. So, yeah, your first videos unless you're in that field and you know what you're doing. Because I've seen people start up and they're so professional with drones and cameras and all that, but I didn't have a clue when I was starting, I'm surprised I pointed the camera in the right direction,
I think that's one thing all three channels that we do have got in similar. We're all quite original. We're not a professional outfit as such. We just film what we think is interesting, what we're doing, what we like, and put it out. We don't do it specifically to gain likes or subscribers.
That's really the ethos of YouTube, isn't it? That it's just people showing other people what's going
on. It's normal people, isn't it?
Normal, well,
well,
relatively, yeah.
Relatively normal. Mention no names. You're right, Colin.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's. I think the problem with some YouTubers, and I've unsubscribed from a lot of channels, is because they try to become too slick, too professional. There's never any mistakes shown. There's never any poor filming. And then it's more like watching a TV program, isn't it?
It becomes unauthentic. Is that word?
It is somewhere. Yeah.
There is a lot of channels that are they've got a lot of disposable money and they just throw tons and tons of money at it. Yeah. And you just think there's no fun in this.
No.
There's nothing. I mean, I can get somebody to go and redo all that. What I like to see, especially both of your channels, is the problem solving. Because I know that I might find myself in that situation and then I'll think back, and that's how I do my problem solving. What have I seen before? So I watch your kind of channels. I say, right, okay, well, that's how we mended those floorboards around the stairs. I remember you doing that. And then how you did specifically the ceiling in one of your videos. So I've got beams with plasterboard between, and it took me ages to plaster them all. And it really did take a lot of time and effort. Then I saw you do that amazing thing by just putting the wood panel in between, and I just thought, I wish I'd have seen that before I'd done it. And it's things like that I really like, the problem solving, how you get around a particular problem. And for me, that's what I like to see on a YouTube video. So when I see these with millions and millions of pounds to spend, I think, well,
cameramen and people holding the camera and lighting.
Have you not got them?
Sorry?
Have you not got them?
I thought we weren't going to discuss that. I hadn't.
All right. Makeup.
Makeup.
What time's the limo coming? It takes away the rawness of it, doesn't it? And the reality of it when you've got all that. And I've unsubscribed from quite a few channels because it's just not real anymore. It's And I do. Without mentioning any names, some of these channels, as you say, have got millions of pounds. It's just not worth watching. It's not the real world, is it? Really.
What do you find you struggle with the most, Grahame?
As in,
just when you're making and producing the whole thing. What's the hardest thing you find, or what do you struggle with most?
I've put out so far on the renovation channel just over 200 videos, and you've got to try and keep it fresh, haven't you? You can't keep using the same music and different angles. You've got to change it, but keep it the same, because that's what people are watching, aren't they? They're watching your renovation channel. So I did try some walking, talking things, and as much as people love them, I started to lose subscribers. So you've got to keep it true to what it is, but you've got to be prepared to change. And I always think one of the hardest things is like the music to it, because I use music in mine and time lapse.
I
tried to. Like that. Do you? Yeah, you see, that's interesting, because I tried to get away from the time lapse, and that was because I watched other people and I thought, he's done this whole job without any time lapse in it. How has he done it? And he breaks it down so you only see segments of it. So I tried that, but it really didn't suit what I was doing.
No.
So you've got to change it. And as I say, I've got hundreds of clips of music that I subscribe to and pay for every month. And you just have to keep it fresh as much as you can. But I struggle with that, because at the end of the day, you're renovating a house. So it's like I've got loads and loads of stone walls, and they're all being treated the same. They're all being rendered and pointed, whatever. Well, that is a job that has a sequence. and you can't change that sequence. So every time you show it, you're basically showing the same thing. So how do you make that different?
People still want to see it, though, don't they?
They love it, yeah. And a couple of weeks ago, I put one out where I described every section of what I was doing. You know, I'm doing this now, then I want to do that. And they love that. They may never, ever point a stone wall, but they're interested in how it's done.
Should they find themselves in that position?
Should they? Yeah. Yes.
What about you, Andy? What do you struggle with most, do you think?
I struggle with, I start a video and I like to have my videos with an end to them, but I've got so many different projects on at the same time. The end for that particular one I start 6 months ago, I might order something that takes 2-3 weeks to come or whatever, and then trying to string it all together at the end and put it in some kind of understandable format. I find that like the last video I did, which was over 2 years, there was probably over 60 or 70 gigabytes of footage on that. And in the end, at the time of doing it, I was thinking, oh, people, this would be really interesting how you do this. And when I looked at it, it was just more of the same stuff. And how do I make a video out of all this footage and put it all together? And then like you said, Grahame, condense it down so that people find it interesting, but they don't want to see you unscrewing 20 rusty bolts and then it just it doesn't matter whether you time lapse it or not. If you've got 20 of them to do, you've got to do it. Putting it all together in a understandable format.
And what we're trying to do is to tell a story, either when you're putting an engine together or Colin's doing something outside and whatever, but you've got to tell that story in such a way that it doesn't become boring and it doesn't go on forever. I mean, when I do a stone wall, it takes me a whole day. Well, I don't think YouTube would like it if I got, a 12-hour video, would they? People will soon get bored. So you've got to condense it down and show that story.
Having said that, no one's done that before, have they?
What? A long video? My son puts out videos of 10 hours long.
No, but
can you believe it?
A video of you repointing the wall in real time.
No, I think my subscriber count would go down dramatically.
I think the thing that I presently struggle with is finding something or thinking of something original to do. Like when I started, there was so much content available. So like like the what do the French really eat series? That's like a finite series. There's only so many disgusting things you can find to eat. So that's got a lifespan. So there's only so many things you can do. So I've done that, and I did a lot of work on the house up in Normandy. So that's that finished, and I'm just painting a set of metal shutters at the moment. Actually, Grahame helped me.
Yeah, I painted too.
Yeah, but it's just painting metal shutters, and I'm sure no one wants to see that. So
I don't know whether we.
That's what it is.
I think the problem is as well is that we tend to forget that what we find boring and mundane, and we're just doing one after the other.
Just going to say that.
Yeah, it's what people find interesting, don't they? You might be undoing 100 bolts, but if you do it in a certain way, other people are going to find that interesting. Because when you do stuff, you're way over my head most of the time. I'm sat there fascinated, and now you know all this stuff. But to see the process you go through, like when you did Colin's tank and things like, it's really useful to me. But when you're doing things with like your solar panels and your internet, I think, oh, this guy's Einstein, how does he know all this? So I find it fascinating because I don't understand it. So then it's interesting to me. And you may think, well, no one wants to see me doing this all day.
Yeah, do you know what? I suffer a lot from that. So like I just said about my previous video, I guess, maybe people do want to see how you take that bolt out and exactly step by step. And I do some tutorials, but I was going to say to you, Colin, is people do just want to see what life in France retired is like.
Do you think
they really do?
Because been here almost 3 years. Well, 3 years in July, I think it is. and it's starting to become normal to me. This lifestyle is just becoming normal to me.
Yeah.
So because it's normal to me, it becomes mundane. Yet to someone who's wanting to live vicariously through us, it's interesting and a bit exciting maybe.
I think people, like you just said, people live through you. So people who are, I don't know, hello to anyone in the United States, people in the United States who want to come over but don't really know what their life's like because it's completely different. For example, just simply going to the déchetterie, the dump, whatever. People will be fascinated by it because it might be so different to what they're used to, or like the workmen's restaurants, which are quite unique to France. I find them fascinating. How they work and how they operate.
The plat de jour for 16.
Yeah. I mean, I live 2 doors down. Well, I don't live. My house is 2 doors down from the restaurant, and they do a plat de jour every day. And it's €16. That includes 3 courses and a glass of wine. And if they said we went in a couple of days ago because I had a mate here, Steve, helping me, so I took him for a meal on his last day. And I said I would quite happily pay €40 to €50 for this meal, and it's €16. And it was packed. They were turning people away at the door, and there was people there just normally dressed, and there was workmen there covered in paint, builders. And they don't mind. They don't mind that, do they? And it's sort of, well, you should be having a collar and tie on and that sort of thing. And it's just a way of life for them, isn't it? It's a totally different mindset.
Not only that, the government themselves support it because my brother owns his own business, SARL business, which is like a limited company back in the UK, or I don't know what it is in the States. But the government subsidised the meals. So he gets €10, I think it is, or whatever, per person per lunch. So it supports local restaurants and keeps them going, and it makes makes it easy for my brother to employ people and that sort of stuff. And it's a really good system, and the food is brilliant. So when you see like a restaurant like that where it's 16 or 13 or 14, they only actually pay in that. Anything above the 10, or I think it's gone up now, it might be 12 or whatever it is, that extra bit, that's only what it costs you. So in effect, it cost my brother €8 for 2 of us to go out.
That's great.
Really good.
Yeah, so I mean, there's stuff like this, getting back to it, people want to see that. They want to see what the life is like.
Yeah.
So Colin might say, I'm struggling for stuff, but people just want to watch you go to the DIY store. They want to watch you, I don't know, whatever it is you're doing, letting their chickens out, whatever.
I always feel very uncomfortable filming outside of my little house. I don't have the courage to. And France is very much very strict on what you can film. And the other day we were working in the house, and the school, which is next door to me, and everyone who watches my channel will know I'm next door to a school because you can hear the school kids all the time. And we were just working in the kitchen, and my mate said, "Hey, there's a guy walking down your garden with 20 kids." So I guess we looked around the corner, sure enough, and this guy's a school teacher, and he said, March is Poet Month, and we'd like to come and read you a poem.
That's so good.
Yeah, and all these kids were just stood there, and this one girl came forward, and she just read this poem in French, obviously. And it was fantastic. One, it made me feel like I'm part of the community, and they want to include me in that. You would never get that. I can't imagine getting that in England.
That's brilliant. And there's something they do here as well. So I think it's once a month or a couple of months, they get there's an old person's home, and they take all the able-bodied people and they take them to the primary or elementary school, and they all have dinner together. So they take the people from the old person's home, and all the old people have dinner at the school meals with the kids. Yeah, which I think is just superb.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to have filmed these kids but you're not allowed to. You know, they're so strict on that sort of thing. I mean, I've got security cameras now. I have to have them dipped below the school wall. Can't even film people walking down the pavement. You know.
Yeah, I had CCTV on the house over in Normandy, and the house in Normandy was down a lane that no one's ever going to be walking down unless they're coming to the house. But I asked the mayor, and he said that I had to have a particular sign on the gates to say that there was CCTV, and but the camera was angled so that the top of the screen just covered the gate. So, I mean, your house is got CCTV and isn't it? So you would know all about that.
Yeah, but it's not. You can't film any other property other than your own, and you can't film any public, right? But saying that, everybody's got one of these fancy doorbells, so they're a bit easier on that. So if it's a doorbell, they're not going to be bothered. But if you've got a massive CCTV camera, they're going to be asking questions. So you can't film anything other than your. But going back to YouTube, that is a good point. You know, you don't. In fact, my brother's got a camera to film his work when I'm not there, and he's doing it himself now. I got him it for Christmas, and he's got an apprentice now, so I don't have to do as much, which is good. And the apprentice said to him, "You don't have the rights to my image. You can't post my image." So he's got to stop doing the videos when he's in it. And they're quite, strict about that kind of thing, which is, is right, I guess.
Yeah. Opposite to England, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you're in a public place in England, you can film anything you want.
Yeah.
Police, to security people, to the people in the street, they do not have the copyright to their image, to their face or whatever. And so they can't stop you. They try to. As long as you're on public property or public thoroughfare, then, but here it's entirely the opposite, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I've never had any problems, and I try not to. I don't really, if I'm filming out and about, I try and make sure there's no one else there. But I very rarely do it. I try and, like you say, keep it inside all to my own stuff. But if you're in a car, you can't help it really sometimes.
No.
The only issue that I've ever had was there was a field of sunflowers down the road from me at another place, and massive field, and I thought that's going to make a fantastic drone shot. So I flew the drone about 2 feet above the sunflowers, and then at the end of the field came up. And I thought, if that's filmed in reverse, that's going to look fantastic. So if it's played in reverse, it'll look fantastic. Well, I did it 3 or 4 times, so it was right. And then this old boy from the farm on the other side of the road came stomping out, started screaming at me in French, and so I pressed the home button on the drone because it was still in the air.
You got a shotgun there.
And so while I'm trying to calm this fella down, I've got the drone coming back. I could hear it coming, and it landed right next to us, and it was just about to stamp on it.
No.
I said, well, no. I said, no, you can't do that. And of course, at that point, all the French disappeared from my head.
Obviously.
And I picked the drone up and I threw it in the back of the car and drove off. But I mean, that was the only fracas that I've had regarding filming. So that was quite intense. Yeah.
I mean, another thing I just thought of is that we were in the restaurant the other day, and there were 40 people in there, and I've been in this restaurant many times, and I've yet to see anybody take a photograph of the food or the interior. No one brings the cameras out, the phones out and whatever.
But too busy eating, isn't it? So.
Yeah.
Too busy
eating and drinking.
Enjoying the food.
For them, it's normal though. It's like us maybe going to McDonald's, I guess, or whatever. Just I suppose it's normal.
And that's one of the things I love about the country is the fact that they still have those values and things. The priority is more with the people, and you go in a restaurant in England, they're all sat there looking at the phones, aren't they? And they still have that way of life here that is like 30, 40 years what it was like in England. You know, you go to a restaurant, you talk to people and you communicate and you eat your food and you talk more. You don't get that in England. It's, you know, I mean, luckily there's not many McDonald's around where I am, so you know. But yeah.
So just dragging it back to YouTube.
Yeah, a bit of a tangent. That's a tangent there, right there.
If you was able to go back in time, do you think you would still do the YouTube thing? Do you think you would still do the YouTube thing?
Yeah.
Grahame? Yeah.
Yeah, I would. Yeah. Mainly because it's a record. I mean, I've often had to go back on videos from 2-3 years ago. For example, when we put a TV up in the gîte, we couldn't remember where the wood was behind it. So we went and we built the frame. I thought, oh yeah, it's there, roughly there. So we found it, you know, and it's a record, isn't it, of everything, and where the pipes are and all that sort of thing. So
I think for me, I've met so many interesting and knowledgeable. Oh, I met you as well. For me, I've met so many fantastic people, including you.
You know, I think you're right, and that's a side of it I never expected to happen. I mean, we all probably started it for why did you start it anyway, Grahame? What made you start it?
I just thought it was an opportunity to have a YouTube channel. You know, I didn't expect to get many views. I think I say on the first video when I walk around the house, if I can get 200 subscribers, I'll be really happy, you know. And a record of all the work done from start to finish, because once or twice I thought I'm going to stop this. My partner Susan said, no, keep it going because it'll be a fantastic. And my grandson, who's almost 8 in England, he's never been over. He's fascinated with it, you know, especially when we had the big diggers there and saw us putting the septic tank in and all this. So he loves it as well, and it's a record for him to keep and watch and that sort of thing. And it is a community, and you know, you do meet other people, and some you like, and some you don't.
Yeah, I think. And why did you start then, Colin? What was your reasoning?
During lockdown, we kept ourselves relatively sane, watching YouTube videos about France, everything, and. I said to Jane, how hard can it be? You know, just do that, didn't you? Talk to yourself. How hard can it be? And I'm dead hard about it. And I think I said this in one of the other videos that we just sold the house. We literally sold the house that morning. We was just about to go and drop the keys off at the estate agent. And Jane said to me, are you going to do this video then or not? I went, okay then. And the first video is of us sitting outside the house in Dagenham. We're just about to go and drop the keys off. France. But at that point, if I'd have said, oh no, I can't be bothered, I wouldn't have met you. And just other fantastic people that, you know, I'm really, really privileged to know. And it's all because of YouTube.
Yeah. What about you, Andy? Why did you start yours?
So I came over in 2019, but I came over to build an extension for my dad because at that time he's unable to. Well, he basically needed a ground floor wheelchair accessible bathroom, and he got an architect to just put the plans in, do all the permissions, and then I said to him, look, if that's what you need, I'll come and build it for you. So I came over and I started building it, but it was quite obvious that he couldn't get outside to see it. So he didn't know what was going on, and he always loved seeing what projects I was doing and all that kind of stuff. And I thought, well, you know, what if I did it on YouTube? But I started doing the videos and then just showing him the videos of what I was doing just on the TV and that. And then towards the end, I then put it all together and did the extension video, which is the second or third video, something like that. And he said, oh, you know, I really enjoyed looking back at that to see what went into it, because he was practical like me. And then we did a few more YouTube videos of just random stuff, really, that he really he played back, so he could sit there because he's inside all the time. He could play back. Like there's one we do right at the beginning where we started up his old classic car that he'd rebuilt, spent years rebuilding, and he loved it. But at the time, he couldn't do any of it himself because he was in a wheelchair, and so we started the car up, and he's just out of shot. So whenever I watch that video, I know he's just sat there.
Yeah.
And then he played it back in the living room, and he can go back to that and see that happen. And I saw how much pleasure he got from watching these videos. And in fact, when he was in hospital in those last couple of days, I had 2 YouTube videos which I'd done, and they mean a lot to me. And I started the project with him, which is the renovation of an old 1950s television. Now,
yeah, the LED screen, LCD screen.
Yeah, so I made it into a flat screen, and then it connected it to a projector and all this. But he used to be a TV engineer, and in the first part of the video, he's actually there, and we're doing it together. Right. And then there's a part 2, which he wasn't. He was in hospital, and I finished it, and I showed it to him before it was published on YouTube, and it's the last one that he saw, unfortunately. But seeing him get so much pleasure out of watching me, and him as well, obviously, doing stuff, I thought I'll carry on and do it, because there's got to be somebody else. There's got to be other people that in a similar situation, they're maybe not capable of getting outside, and they used to do practical stuff. So they want to see this kind of stuff. And then obviously they moved on to doing like, this is how you do these things and all that sort of stuff. But the original idea was, for my dad originally, and then I continued when he passed away, because like we were saying earlier, people just want to see that particular type of video, and they want to see it all. So that's why I started. So yeah, slightly different, but for the same reason, because people want to see it, I guess.
Got a master of the slow burner, isn't you? The slow burner video. So I think you've got a transit video. What was it, changing? I can't remember. It's just changing a part, isn't it? Is it? It's not.
The alternator maybe, something like that.
Yeah, it's got 40-odd thousand views, isn't it?
No, it's 90-odd something now.
There you go.
But the one that interested me the most, you said it at the time, and you actually put a comment on it, is just altering the buttons on my mom's Mitsubishi car to pair your phone to it. Yeah. And that is my 4th biggest video per 90 days, and it gets something like 5,000 or 6,000 views every 90 days or something like that. And it's only about 5 minutes long. It's amazing what actually picks up. I don't know if you've noticed that. It's not the videos that you think is going to be good that are good.
Yeah.
It's a random video that you've got no idea why people like, and it just goes mental. And people like, wow.
Yeah.
Did you find that?
Definitely. Do you?
Don't know anything like that.
No. Well, my example is today. Have you got a channel?
Allegedly.
Today, last week, I put a video out, and I got around about 2,500 views. And I put one out today, this morning. And I think what you've got to do, and I've only realised that recently, I've spent a bit more time, is have a good thumbnail and a good title. You've got to get the people's attention. And today, the video I put out has already had almost 5,000 views. Now, why is that today? And I've had 30 new subscribers today. I've been losing them, not gaining them. Now, I lost 60 subscribers in 2 weeks, but I think that was YouTube. Every so often, they sort of check your channel. If there's any scammers in there, they delete them all, don't they? But why today? What's different with this video? It's not really any different to the others, but is it the thumbnail? Is it the...
I wonder whether it's because it's Good Friday today. So there's lots of people sitting around.
Yeah.
Not at work.
Thanks. I thought it was the quality of the video.
I was just going to say that. It's a bloody good video, that.
How many friends have you got? Long-term friends.
One less, I think.
I could get out. I'll be home by midnight if I go down.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, it just comes out of nowhere sometimes. Some of the most random videos, and the things you think, do you know what? This is going to be. I've done one that is going to come out this weekend that I think people are going to love. If you're doing DIY in France, you're going to love this video, and I bet you I get 200 views and that's it. And it's it's amazing. When I saw it, I thought, oh, it's basically if you got dark wood beams, say as dark as this, yeah, or darker, like almost black beams, you can change them to natural oak within half a day, and there's no sanding, no mess, no nothing. And I do it and I show you it, and I think, my God, if I was doing a video in France and I had these dark beams everywhere, I'd be all over that. But like you said, it must be down to the thumbnail and the description. We'll see how it does, but
yeah,
I'm not convinced.
So the biggest thing that ever happened to me was 2-3 years ago. I saw a video of this couple up in Lyon or somewhere. They were renovating an old industrial unit. They obviously had a lot of money and it looked fantastic. But what they did, they'd been working on it for a year and they did a time lapse. And I'd never seen one before. And I thought, wow, that's fantastic. So I did one myself. And it was awful, but I did it myself. They had the same music all the way through. Somebody said, you need to change the music, blah, blah, blah. I put it out just thinking, oh, I might get a few views, a few more subscribers. And I think in a fortnight, I got 8,000 new subscribers.
How many?
8,000.
Right, I'm doing a time lapse.
Just sit and watch it.
I was just watching the numbers go around like this, and I couldn't believe it.
I'm gonna do a rubbish time lapse then, if that's what you get for it.
I'll send you the music. I've got the.
You're gonna have some of mine.
It's never happened again, And what was it about that video? And even now, it still gets a few hundred a month. People watching it.
I think the other thing is that you can try and be too clever as well. You can try and manipulate things, with what do you call it? Clickbait thumbnails.
Oh my God! Right, I think we should discuss that.
Yeah, and in all fairness, sometimes they work. I mean, one of my videos, which did really, really well, it was called "Leaving France," and the thumbnail was of me sitting out on the patio there, looking longingly into the distance. But it was actually an interview with two people that had already left France.
Yeah, actually, I can remember that because Sue's really liked that one.
Yeah,
she said, "Oh, that's really interesting." That is,
Yeah, but it was all about the thumbnail, really. People go, "Oh, a bit of drama," bit of drama. He's leaving France. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about you guys, but if I see a thumbnail and a title that is just too obviously clickbait, I'll go out my way to not click on it.
Not watch it.
I do, exactly. Yeah. So I was going to ask the question. I'll ask it now because we're on that subject. What is the one thing when you watch other people, because I watch quite a few people's channels, as we all do, that you hate, which will make you unsubscribe?
Someone who's not authentic, someone who's phony.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think you touched on it. For me, if it's too flashy, the ones where they've got pumping music all the time. I don't mind a lot of the time, half the time, but all the time. There's like the beat going on, and there's like graphics and this, that, and the other, and I'm like, look, I just want to know how to fix this Hoover, or I don't want all that. I guess maybe that. That would probably put me off the most. What about you, Graham?
What I hate, and I have unsubscribed from a lot of channels because of it, is when they're sponsored and they come out with all this false advertising. Oh yes, every morning I give my children this glass of orange juice because we know. No. I've got this bike. I think I can't be doing this. It's so false. And it ruins a channel. Or I use this makeup every day when I'm in front of the counter. I think, well, really, do you? I just hate it. And I honestly can say, I know these people can get paid a lot of money to advertise these, company products. I would not do it. I think the most I've ever done, the other month I got a £10 meter thing that you can check if your wire's alive, and that's the most I've had, but I don't actually push it. But
sell out.
Actually, sometimes one guy, I'm not going to mention any, but there's one or two channels who do this. These boxes that generate electricity.
Oh God, don't get me started. Don't get me started on those.
Half a dozen of these different things from different people, and then he's also had all these bikes, electric bikes. I mean, he's got more bikes than Raleigh. I think, how many bikes do you need, mate? And how many of these EcoFlow systems? And this one's better than the last one, which was the best thing since sliced bread. And I just think it's just so false. And I've always fast forward it, and if it's continuous, I just unsubscribe.
I've had two opportunities, and I took one of them. That was the when we did the bathroom, I got sent a laser level, and we really put it through its paces.
Yeah, I got the same laser level. Can you remember?
Yeah. They really put it through its paces. It did a proper, honest review on that.
Yeah,
so
me too.
I feel okay about that.
No.
But I got offered.
I think reviewing a product that you're given is different to being sponsored. I think what you mean is being sponsored.
I agree. Yeah. No, I understand what you mean. Yeah.
So basically, like if you're sponsored by DeWalt, then you do a video of you cutting your toast up in the morning with one of their jigsaws or whatever. I mean, it's literally you use it for everything. So I know what you mean about that. Yeah.
I watch a company, a YouTube channel, who has built a boat. He's quite famous on YouTube, and he's done a fantastic job. And he bought this boat for $1, and I've watched it right from day one, and it's now almost, I would say, ready to go into the ocean. The workmanship on it is fantastic. And about 2 years ago, they started getting people approach them to do sponsorships. But what they do, and I love it, is they take the Michael out of it. They do it, it's like a pantomime, and you have to watch it because it just makes you laugh the way they do it. And these companies must love it because people watch it all the way through, where mostly you just fast forward it, don't you? But because they're absolutely taking their Michael out of it as far when men dress up as women, well, it's quite normal, but they all dress, it's like a pantomime act, and they have a script and absolutely awful scenery, but it's funny. And I think the companies love this because people watch it all the way through, and it probably does them more good than somebody saying, I use this dental floss every day on my dog,
Yeah.
We know you don't, So, yeah.
Having said that, DeWalt, if you want to sponsor me,
if I can just take a moment to sponsor this beer, can you send me plenty?
Oh, no. I understand what you mean about that. So what's the future of your two channels? Are you quite happy to keep going, Colin? Because
I found myself in a bit of a content wasteland, really. So I've really got to get a grip and start thinking about some more original stuff. Yeah, I think that's where I'm at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, going back to what we said earlier about people are interested in the way things are in France. If you think about it, you've been to the doctors today, haven't you? Now, if you did, obviously you couldn't video inside the doctors and whatever, but if you'd have talked about that, this is where we're going, and this is what's happened, and how quick we're getting seen to.
This is what
would have been interesting, wouldn't it? For a lot of people.
Right. Yeah, this is what I was saying about, the French way of life becomes normalised, and because it's normalised, you don't think it's very interesting because it's normal.
Exactly.
When actually it probably is. So thanks for the inspiration, Grahame.
It's a pleasure.
It's very much appreciated.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. Yeah. It's. I think you're right. It is the normal things of everyday life. See, I think like today when we were painting those shutters, there's another opportunity, isn't there? And that's because your videos are everyday life.
Yeah.
And that is everyday life, isn't it?
What about yourself, Andy? How do you see your channel?
I think I always said to myself, I'm not doing it for subscribers. I'm not doing it certainly not doing it for money, because you don't really make any money, do you? So I'm not doing it for that. I'm just doing it because I want to do it. And I think that people might be interested in it, and people might, need to know how to do something. And I am getting a lot of comments back on a lot of the videos saying, thanks, you really helped me out. And when I get a comment like that, I think, yeah, it's worth it. It's totally worth it, because I know trying to work out how to do something, it's just so time consuming. If you could go and find out how to do it and somebody's done it before, that's invaluable, I guess. But if I was doing a channel where I'm constantly out trying to get likes, trying to boost my subscribers all the time, it's never been about that. But if I was trying to do that, I'd get fed up of that quite quick, I think.
Time's getting on a bit now, but just one more question I'd just like to ask you guys. How do you cope, or how do you feel about when you get a very negative comment? Andy?
But that's a good question. I've only had a few negative comments, but they tend to be from people who want the attention, and like they want you to respond, or they want you to reply to it. And I find that the best way to deal with it is say thanks for your comment and thumbs up, and that's it. Whether it's good or bad, it doesn't matter. These are people you'll never meet ever, and you go to their channel, they don't have a channel. They've maybe got 2 videos, no one's subscribed. So yeah, I guess just I can let it wash over me because I'm not in it for the subscribers, the likes. I don't feel the need that people have to like the channel. I just want some people to find the videos helpful. But what about you, Graham? How do you deal with the negatives? You probably don't get any in your channel, do you?
Oh, yeah, I do. I tell you where the big problem is, and it's for all of us really, is that we're in France and people, wherever they are in the world, whether it be Australia, America, wherever, assume that the rules here are the same as the rules there. So when I'm doing something in the house, I say, oh, when the inspector comes around, he won't like that. There ain't no inspectors, and it's a different mindset here. I mean, recently, I've had 1 or 2 negatives, and I've now got to the point where I don't even bother talking to them. And I found that some of my other subscribers put them in the place, which is great. It's really nice that they come and say, who do you think you are? Where's your channel? And have you ever done this? Who are you to say? How rude and that. And that, to me, that's better than me saying something.
Because, I agree. Yeah,
let them go with it. It's their moment of glory, and I'm too busy, to be honest, doing things, to worry about that sort of thing. I did get at one time. I did used to get a lot of these porn messages where click on this and you will go to see, Debbie in Dallas and what have you. But they stopped, and I don't know whether YouTube had something to do with that.
YouTube got a grip on that.
But I used to have to censor, or I had to check all the comments before I published them. And there were loads, and then they must have got bored and went somewhere else. Probably it's your channel, did it? Was it you?
It wasn't me. I can neither confirm nor deny. But no, I had a similar sort of period of time where there was loads and loads of scam. So you just report it every time, and I guess the algorithm gets on top of it and deals with it in the appropriate way.
You don't get many negative comments though, do you, Colin, on yours?
The 1 or 2 that I do get I mean, I have to be honest and say they do sting a bit sometimes, and I do tend to think about them every now and again, but they're few and far between. And what you said, actually, I think every time that I have got one who's a bit fresh, other subscribers have piled in, and which is a really nice feeling.
It is. It's very nice. Yeah.
It brings. Yeah. It brings the whole feeling of the community. To the fore. So there's the community of creators. I suppose we are creators.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah.
There's the community of creators, and there's the community also for each channel. Have got their subscribers and regular viewers, and you see the same names come up, and it's really nice. And then sometimes when you don't get a comment from someone, you think, oh, I wonder what's happened to him. I wonder what's happened to her.
Yeah.
And it's, you really get invested in it, don't you?
Yeah. I used to have this 1 or 2 regular people stuff, and I never hear from them now. Now that's not to say they're not still watching; they just don't comment. I mean, it is difficult to get people to comment when you look how many views you get. I mean, like I've had. Let's say you have 1,000 views. If you get 100 comments, you
can only dream of 1,000 views.
No, but 100. Let's say you get 100 views. I can almost guarantee you'll be lucky if you get 5 or 10 comments. Won't you?
Yeah, I agree.
Small percentage, of people who actually take the time to comment. That's why I always thank them, because they've taken the time. And I always try to comment on videos I watch, give them a like, and I'm never negative, because people have spent time filming this and editing this and putting it together.
I think the biggest issue when it comes to comments is that lots of people now watch YouTube on TV.
Yeah.
Watching on TV, you can't leave a comment.
Yeah. Never thought of that.
I've done it myself. You know, I've watched videos on the TV and thought, oh, that's brilliant. I must make a comment, and then of course something else happens, I forget. So I think that's probably why, or that's probably one factor.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I never thought of that. Yeah.
Do you know that that's one fault that I have myself, because I follow only a handful really of channels religiously, and then you know, Colin's follow yours obviously. Anyway, also, no, I follow both of yours, but sometimes I watch it in the cinema. So I've got a little cinema room up just above my head that I built in lockdown, but there's no way I can write a comment there. And like you say, then go to bed, get up, do whatever you're doing the next day, and you think, oh, bloody hell, I haven't written a comment. Or I've got actually 2 YouTube usernames. So one is my personal one and one is AJ in France, obviously. And I sometimes comment on my other name, but I think people know it's me, but they don't, obviously. And yeah, there's that as well. So there is more than one reason why people aren't just
I never thought of the TV thing, because my other half, she always watches YouTube on TV.
Yeah, we do. Yeah,
you can put a comment on there, but it's a right pain, you know, to go through everything to get to it, and then you got to click A, click B, you know, so that people don't. And yeah,
I never tried that.
Yeah, it's fair comment. Yeah.
Still, good.
So we're all going to continue as we are, I guess, for now. No change, no big changes in the pipeline for anyone.
No, I've been that close to finishing, I've got to say, recently. Yeah. But no, you just keep going, don't you? And as I said earlier, you try to be different every week, but you try to be the same every week. You can't suddenly go in a different direction, because people say, well, this is not the channel I'm subscribed to.
What you said earlier actually was quite inspiring. Actually, what you said about where you went to the doctor earlier.
Yeah.
And that would have been interesting, you know, to talk about the process and so on. But
it is different, isn't it?
It is very, very different. Yeah. I didn't even think of it.
Well, yeah, think about when we went to A&E and we had to go to the pharmacy, and you get your I had the tetanus vaccine, and they give it to you to take away.
Yeah.
You know, that in the UK, that doesn't happen.
You won't even get sick. Never mind anything else.
I mean, it's like Jane had a CT scan, and we had to wait about 15 minutes, and the doctor comes out with the results and gives them to you to give to your GP.
Yeah.
15 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, I remember when my mum went in, and there's a video coming up, and it's a year in the making already. She had a problem with her knee. She goes to hospital, go in there, straight down to X-ray. Just after we booked in, we didn't even go to a waiting room, straight into X-ray. Comes out, and while we sat waiting for the doctor to arrive, she gets an email on her phone, and on the email is her X-ray. And you click on the link, and it's an interactive one, and you can pinch and zoom and go through the different layers on the X-ray, right from the outer skin all the way down to the bone, and you can zoom in on the X-ray.
It's amazing.
I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What is this? Magic.
Yeah.
Well, when I cut my hand with the standing off utility knife, I went down to the same hospital that we went to, Andy, and went into the like through the glass slidey door, and see the nurse there. She took me details, and she said, "I'll go through the other glass slidey door to the waiting room." I went through. She ran out the back of the office into the into the treatment area. Opened the door, said, "You can come through now." I was like,
"Are you a twin?"
Wait a minute. and then actually, our French is this, right? And then she took me through to the treatment room. I was the only one there in the whole of the ER. Sat me on the bed, had a look at it. Said, "Yeah," said, "That's gonna need a bunch of stitches." Doctor's on his lunch. He'll be about half an hour.
So French.
Yeah. The only thing that's happened to me like that, which is nothing medical, I needed a dustbin, a wheelie bin. And if you order one in England, you have to wait a minimum of a week, maybe 2, to get this new dustbin. So I needed one at the house. So I went over to the mayor's office and I said, I'd like a wheelie bin. So she took me details. She knew who I was, but she took all my details because I'm a crazy Englishman across the road with this house I bought. And I said, roughly how long will it be? She said, 10, 15 minutes. It was 16 minutes, so I rang up to complain. In 15 minutes, it was there outside my house. You know, you would never get that in England. You know, you'd be waiting till the next bins come round or the council came round.
Minimum, yeah.
It's all those different things in life which are quite interesting, aren't they? You know, I mean, anybody watching England watching that, because when I tell them that story, they all laugh. You know, and it is just that little bit of difference, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, that's an inspiration for you then, Colin, I guess. The next.
Thank you very much.
You need to switch your GoPro on, you have it stuck to your forehead. And
at all times,
yeah.
all day.
Well, not all times. I can think of times when you shouldn't, but I definitely don't want to see that sort of video.
Different kind of channel. That's an OnlyFans channel, that one.
Yeah.
Moving swiftly on.
What's
so
that?
I guess time's gone on, and it's been such a it's been such a pleasure to talk to you both. But we're an hour and 10 minutes in, I guess. So we should maybe guess. But what I'm interested in, Grahame, can you tell us about your other channel that you've got, the Walking Around History channel? Yeah.
I've got I'm really into history. I love history. And when I was back in England, just to briefly say why it's there, is I didn't have any intros for the videos, the renovation videos. So I went for a walk and I just talked to people while I was walking around saying, this is what we're doing this week. And the response was fantastic. Oh, we'd love to see more. So I started doing this Talking the Walk channel. Is that what it's called?
What a brilliant title. Talk the Walk.
Yeah.
So, genius, isn't it? It's genius.
That's why he's got 12,000 subscribers or whatever it is.
I've got 62 on that channel, but I'm looking for more and sponsors.
Link in the description. That's what you should say.
Yeah. So I started just doing these walks, you know, and talking about it. And I've got some coming up with Byron, and because I live near to where Byron lived and where D.H. Lawrence lived and everything else. And I'm trying to put one out every month. Obviously, while I'm over here, I can't do anything. So, I find it interesting. I have an ability to retain knowledge on historical things. You know, not on anything else, but and I enjoy it. That's the thing, you know. So that's what that's about. It's called Talking the Walk.
That does come across in the videos that you're really enjoying yourself and you share. That's brilliant.
Yeah,
I'm just going to say that. Yeah, the channels I enjoy the most are where the person doing it is genuinely interested, and you know, they love it. I mean, like you over at Wouldn't It Be Nice? Yeah. I love watching it. I mean, it's really raw channel, but that's what I like. And he's so into it. He absolutely loves everything, every bit that he does. And you can feel that from watching the videos. And I love that. And I get that watching you doing the history walks as well. You're just really into it. And that, for me, makes the channel, really.
This Byron one, which hasn't gone out yet, and it probably took me 4 hours to do, walking around. And then I found out a load more stuff. So now I'm going back and doing it all again, you know. But it's worth it because then you can give more information, you know. And it's just, if you enjoy it, as you say, if you're into it, it comes across, doesn't it? You know, it's a lot better that way. So yeah, I need subscribers.
Well, in that case, head over to Grahame's channel. There'll be a link in the description. Also, the link on his main channel, link to my channel, and Colin's channel, obviously. So I guess that's it. Do you want to add anything else, Colin?
No, you do the outro in your inimitable style.
I'm just going to take the 3-hour drive home as I've been insulted.
Yeah, I know.
Places in this.
Well, that happened to me when I went there as well. So don't feel like you've been special.
Shame up. Shame up or ship out.
That's it. Well, that's it then. So we'll see you on the next episode. But for now, it's goodbye from me. And it's
from
me.
You. And goodbye from me.
Yeah. Great talking to you.